So thank you. Thank you, first of all, you know what I mean? Like, I know you've been through it all too. You've been through that whole thing too, getting kicked, bow! And he's like, what? Keep on fighting, don't give it up, don't give up. You just keep on going, dog. Like, that's amazing. So, love you too.
Thank you.
All right? Love
Thank
you too, brother.
Thank you.
Let's give it up for Mysonne Keynote 2017. Unlock your dreams.
Hey, Dad. So congratulations on being the honoree and the keynote speaker for this year's 2017 Unlock Your Dreams Award. I also wanted you to know that you're one of my biggest heroes in life, because no matter what obstacles you have faced, no matter what life has thrown at you, you have always managed to be the best you can be. Keep pushing through it, and you've never ever quit at anything you've ever done. And because of that, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, and I love you.
My name is Mysonne. I'm a rapper slash activist. By living my dreams, by not allowing anything or anyone to put a limitation on what I can do, by being there in my community, by giving back, by inspiring others, by motivating, by living out everything that I always wanted to do without any interference, never caring about anyone who doubted what I believed in, and doing that in righteousness and authenticity. I had to change. I had to not allow myself to be outraged by things, but allow the outrage to motivate me to do things to change. Because a lot of times people are outraged, but they don't do anything to change the situations. And I used to be one of those people that used to just be mad at everything. Like, why they ain't doing this, or why they not doing that? Instead of being the person to do the things that people weren't doing, or I didn't think was going on necessarily. I started to be the change that I wanted to see. So I had to, in a few words, say I had to get out of my own way. My name is Mysonne Keynote, and I'm a proud honoree of the 2017 Unlock Your Dreams Award. This has been an amazing evening. Let me, first we gotta give thanks to God, everybody. Without him, none of this is possible. And I wanna thank my beautiful wife and my queen, who, without her, I don't know where I would be. Who supports me, motivates me. Late nights, she's with the kids. She puts her own dreams and her own self on hold to make sure that I'm elevated. And that's something big, man. You can't even repay that. You know, if you're a man in here and you have a woman, that is power. That is greatness, man. So I want to thank you, babe, for always supporting me and being there for me. Then I want to thank Latoya, T, Shanice, LV, and everyone involved for this honor and this beautiful evening of Black Brilliance. Woo! I also want to congratulate all of the other honorees for their excellence and their commitments and contributions to the elevation and evolution of our communities. It is truly an honor to be amongst such an inspirational, motivational group of individuals. So please give them a round. I know I don't speak for myself when I say that it is really beautiful to be honored for doing something that's just right.
Yeah. Talk about it.
You know, when you are honored for doing something that you would do for free. You know, I remember my 6th grade teacher told me something. She said, if you do what you love, then you'll never work a day in your life.
That's right.
And that was the realest thing I ever heard. So I've never worked a day in my life, because everything I've done is a part of me. Everything I've ever done is just living in righteousness and authenticity. Yeah. When I do music, I speak from my heart. when I do community work and I do activism work, is because of what I believe in. And I'm willing to stand on that at any given time. When I first was asked to give this keynote, I said to myself, that would be nice. Let's give him a round of applause. I said to myself, what is going to be my message? I mean, I've had the honor to be amongst some of the greatest orators of our time and witness some of the greatest keynote speeches I've ever seen that have changed lives. And this is probably my first ever keynote. I mean, I've spoken in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I've performed in front of sold-out crowds, but I never did a keynote speech. And for me, a keynote speech is supposed to charge and it's supposed to motivate and make everybody leave ready to go home, taking over the world. Now that's a hell of a task, especially when you stand in front of black billions and you have to say something that resonates with all of you and inspire you to continue to be great or even be greater than you already are. So I got my work cut out. So when I heard Unlock Your Dreams, it made me reflect on my times of being locked up, being incarcerated for a crime that I didn't commit, spending nights in the cell away from my family, not understanding why I was there at a crucial time in my life when I was about to embark on such success, you know, just sitting there wondering, what is this? Why am I here? Not understanding. But I didn't allow that to stop me. I didn't allow the misfortune to make me bitter or make me stop continuing to moving. Actually, the craziest thing is that when I was locked up is when I actually unlocked my dreams. During my darkest times, I decided that I was going to live out my dreams no matter what. No matter who believed in what I was doing, no matter who thought it was impossible because they had never seen it done before. And to me, that was even more of a reason to do it. All the time, every day, people make history. And making history is just doing something that nobody has ever done before. So I said, why not me? Why not you? Why not? What makes you less capable of making history than anybody else? What makes you less capable of being great than anybody else? What makes your dreams any less achievable than anybody else's dreams? Nothing. Nothing at all. If your mind can dream it, then you can achieve it. I did 7 years in prison. I was signed to Def Jam Records, believed to be one of the brightest up-and-coming rappers in the late 90s. I was scheduled to drop my album in 99. I was sitting in the cell. Everybody told me, you finished. I came home, 2006. They called me washed up. They said I needed to move on. This was a young man's business. I was too old. Nobody wanted to hear my style of rap no more. Blah, blah. I mean, I heard everything that you could possibly hear that could deter someone from going on. And you know what I said? I used the naysay as the motivation and the fuel for my dreams. I used every call that they didn't answer, every record they didn't play, as motivation to be great. Because I already unlocked my dreams. And I wasn't going to allow anybody to stop me from achieving those dreams. Nothing, no one was going to stop me from being great. So for 10 years, I came home in 2006. So for 10 years, I just grinded. I studied, I worked, I failed, I got up, I got frustrated, I cried, I struggled, but I never stopped. I never quit. I never believed in not doing what I wanted to do. I never didn't believe in me. You see, I realized the key to success is believing in you more than somebody doesn't. Do you understand what that means? Because there's going to be people that don't believe in your dream, and they're going to try to stop you because they're too scared to go after their own dreams. They're going to give you every reason why you can't do what you could do because they're scared, and they don't mean to do it. It's people that love you that try to stop you from reaching your potential because they don't believe it's attainable. And I tell you that only thing you can tell them is, I love you, but I'm going to do what I got to do. That's right. Because I know, I believe in me. I know what I'm capable of. There's nothing that can stop you from being what you're supposed to be. What God has made for you, no man can stop. No woman can stop. No circumstances can stop. No incarceration can stop. It is for you, and you just have to go get it. When your heart is pure and you are authentic, the universe has a way of working for you in your favor. I heard Michael Jordan say that he got cut from his high school basketball team. Can you imagine what basketball would be without Michael Jordan? Like, just imagine that. Just imagine if when he got cut from his basketball team, he said, man, I'm going to quit, man. You know, the high school coach don't think I'm good enough, so I'm not good enough. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go start playing checkers. I mean, I can't even imagine basketball without Michael Jordan. Would there even be an NBA? You think it would still be an NBA if Michael Jordan? Think about it. Look at all of the players that he's inspired. Kobe, LeBron, Westbrook, Curry, Carmelo. If you name it, they have patterned their game after Michael Jordan. And these are the players who continue to make it great. So doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell you that? I remember Jay-Z said in an interview, he said, people call me a genius, and they called Rockefeller geniuses. He said, but the genius thing was that we never quit. That's the only thing we did that was genius. When they told us that we couldn't do this or we weren't, people didn't want to buy our music, we kept going. We believed in us more than they didn't believe in us. Yeah. So I say that 10 years later, I'm still going. I delivered a spoken word at the 2015 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. I've had a record play in rotation on the radio. I dropped a freestyle with Funkmaster Flex that has reached over 40 million views. Just recently, I was on the BET Hip Hop Awards in the cypher, and my verse was compared to Eminem's verse, the legendary, the highest selling artist in hip hop history. It was compared. To many, they said I was better. Yeah. I'm just saying. Listen, I don't know. I'm just telling you what some people say. I'm a fan of Eminem.
I want to
I'm saying what some people say. But I'm a fan of M, so it was just an honor just to be compared in the same breath as Eminem.
You was the realest one on there.
Talk about it. Woo!
I perform and I speak nationally and internationally at colleges. I mentor disadvantaged youth. And I've organized some of the greatest civil rights movements of our time. Because I believed in me. Yes. And God. Yes. Won't he do it? Yes. Won't he do it? I said, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Oh. I had to breathe the church for a minute. You see, there's a lot of people that's trapped or locked. And some of us are locked by our fears. It's not prison. Prison was what I was locked in. Some of us are locked by our fears. Some of us are locked because we don't think we have the energy. We don't think we're good enough. We have all of these ideas. We have all of these things inside of us, but we locked ourselves up. And like I said, sometimes we got to get out our own way. You got to believe in you more than they don't believe in you. You got to believe in you despite anything. You got to continue to get up. You got to fall down. You got to wipe your knees off, and you got to continue. I remember my grandmother used to always tell me that. She used to tell me, do your own thing, baby. And I lived by that mantra. My grandmother, I remember I was in my elementary school graduation. And I was playing the drums. I never forget it. And my mother wasn't there. Nobody was there. And I didn't think nobody was in the audience. So I'm playing the drums in the back. And the drums is loud. Do you know how the drums, boom, boom. People was getting up. And my grandmother's in the back. And I heard her say, that's my grandson. Do your own thing, baby. and that one, you know how it is when grandma tells you.
Do your own thing.
Like grandma said, do your own thing. I was going crazy after that. And I always kept that voice. My grandmother passed away, unfortunately, while I was in prison. 2 months before I came home. And that's all I wanted to do was come home to her. You know, I remember going through trial and being falsely convicted. And my grandmother coming to court every day and sitting there. And I wasn't as much pain for me, you know, because I knew that she did everything possible to prevent this from happening. And now, had I been in there for something I did, it would have been a different story. But knowing that I was in there falsely accused, knowing that she had to go through that and see that, and she did everything possible to give me the best opportunities and to motivate me past that, was one of the biggest things that hurt me. But it also was one of the biggest things that motivated me. So while I was sitting in that cell and I said to myself, why am I here? I didn't do woe is me. I said, my grandmother needs me to get out of here. And I need to go home and be better than I was when I got here. I have to go home and be mentally and physically more and spiritually stronger than I was when I came here. That's what I realized about prison. When you're in prison, the only way they win is when you don't learn. Every day that you don't learn, the system has beat you. So every day I said to myself, I'm going to grow somehow. I'm going to learn a new word. I'm going to work out. I'm going to read a new book. But you're not going to defeat me. You know, I didn't adapt to my environment. I made my environment adapt to me. You know, Roy's one of my friends that I met in prison. And he'd tell you I've been the same person. I didn't go to jail and say, oh, I got to get into jail. No. I'm not engaging in prison politics. Because I'm only here. This is just a part of my journey. This is a lesson that I'm going to use to carry on. A part of my journey. This is a story that's going to be told that's going to inspire somebody else to be better than I was. You see, the moral of this story is we all feel locked up at times. Some put every obstacle in their way. Some just have allowed other circumstances to dim their fires. And I'm just here to tell you that the time is now. Right now. It is time for you to unlock your dreams, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Your greatness, your excellence, your brilliance is inside you, just waiting to be unlocked. And the only person who can unlock it is you. I know it seems hard, and sometimes you feel like just giving up. But you better suck it up. You better fix your crown, king and queen. You better straighten up. You better push yourself to your greatness, because somebody is being motivated by you. Somebody is watching you and saying, I want to be like that person. So if you decide to quit, then you set our whole generation back. We never know who's watching us. remember Tupac said, I might not change the world, but I'm going to say something that sparks the mind of the person who will change the world. And that's how I live my life. I live my life saying that if I could save one or teach one of these kids, then we have hope. The systems and everything that we look for. Martin Luther King didn't get to see his dream. Malcolm X didn't get to see what he fought for. With his progress, we are able to do this. We are able to celebrate Black brilliance. We have millionaires and we have people in high places because they died. And they didn't die so that they can experience this bliss. They didn't die so they can live in a beloved community. They died so their kids can live and experience that in the next generation. So what are we going to leave for our next generation? How are we going to inspire our next generation to be brilliant, to be excellent? How are we going to motivate the next Black Wall Street?
Talk about it.
Ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing that is going to make change? You know, we know the honorees are here doing it. And I celebrate y'all. Some of y'all, y'all motivated me. Because when I walk out here today, I'm going to be better. I feel like I ain't doing enough. Listen to me, last time I felt like this, I just left the Revolt conference with Diddy. And Diddy started talking up there, and I was just like, how would beat Diddy? Like, he got all the money in the world, and he wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, he working out, you can't beat him if you sleeping. You can't even compete with him if you sleeping. He got more than you, and he outworking you, you ain't got a chance. I said, I ain't doing enough. I told my wife, I said, baby, I'm not doing enough. She said, boy, you better lay down. You don't even sleep every day. You need to rest. Lay down. You up. I wake up at 5 in the morning, my eyes open, I'm looking at the ceiling, trying to figure it out. Because that's what it's about. It's about creating intergenerational wealth. It's about inspiring the next generation of leaders. It's about encouraging someone else to be better than you are. Like, I wanted to cry watching my son. Me and my son, look, you know how teenagers are. Me and my son have gone through it throughout his whole life. He's been a teenager, and you know, y'all know everything. Teenagers know everything. So I was like, my son, you can't do that. But Dad, I know what I'm doing. You got it. And then he'd come back, and I'd be like, what happened? Exactly what I told you, right? He'd be like, a little bit. I don't want to go to this school, Dad. I want to go to that one because I'm like, but this is probably the best school for you to go to. And I'm telling you, you probably should leave New York because there's really nothing in New York, and the people here just gonna hold you back. And you play basketball, and you go out of state. I'm telling you, I made the same mistake. Nah, Dad, I just want to stay here. Okay, you got it. So how did that work out for you? You was right. And just this year was the first time that he didn't tell me, but he wrote on Facebook. He said, you know, my dad has never told me nothing that was wrong. And that's what it is for me. It's like, I didn't have, my father died when I was 12 years old. My father OD'd on my couch in my living room. And I was 12 years old, and my mother knocked on my door in school, but I knew it happened. It was the weirdest thing. The night before, I called him. He was supposed to pick me up, and I called him, and he didn't answer the phone. And it wasn't like, you know, he ain't had no cell phone or nothing, but he just didn't. This was what, 88, 89 or something like that. And I'm calling his phone. I'm like, he's just not answering the phone. And I just remember my face. I just was crying. My mother was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, there's something wrong with my father. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, there's something wrong with my father. And I didn't know why, but it was a feeling that came over me that my father wasn't here. I didn't say that to her. I just kept saying something wrong with my father. And I remember the next day I went to school. And the whole way to school, I was saying to her, my father's dead. In my head. Look, I kid you not, this is not a joke, this is the realest feeling I ever had. And I was sitting there, and we in class playing chess, and one of my best friends is sitting in front of me. And we playing, but I can't really focus, and he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I think my father's dead. And I kept looking at the door, because I knew any minute my mother was going to be in front of that door telling me that we was going to leave, and she found out. Sure enough, she knocked on the door, and I just stood up. I didn't cry, but the night before I cried so much, I didn't cry through the funeral. I went back to my house where he was at, and we was all in the hallway, and the people were there, and the coroner, and the police, and I'm standing in front of the door. And I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom. They're like, no, you can't go in there. And I was like, I want to see my father. And they was like, no, you're a kid. I said, I was like an adult man. I said, I'm okay. But I just want to see my father. And I remember walking to the bathroom, walking by and seeing him on a chair decomposed. Because he had died for